Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the next series of Weekdays with Mom or Middays with Mom. I'm here on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 12 noon Pacific Time, 3 p.m. Eastern Time, just to talk about Married at First Sight, Love After Lockup, 90 Day Fiancé, reality shows, hot topics, or just life in general. Just here just to come in the afternoon or early evening hours for some, depending on where you are, just to say hello, touch base, and see what's going on. So we'll probably be here about 30, 45 minutes up to an hour, depending on what the conversation is and how juicy the content is, and just go from there. And I will wait a few moments to allow other people to come on if they want to come. And if not, hello to the replay gang. Thank you so much for joining Weekdays or Middays with Mom. So I'm going to also drop the link. If anyone wants to come on to talk, you don't have to show your face. You can have your camera muted. If you want to say hello, you can to me online, or just say what you have to say other than in comments or whatever else. And hello to Sharon that's joining me this afternoon. And hello to Universal Advocate. Appreciate it so much. I'll just wait maybe another minute to see if anyone else comes on. If not, we can get started and then they can catch everything else on the replay. So once again, I'll be here Tuesdays and Thursdays, 12 p.m. Pacific Time, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Just going over Married at First Sight, any reality shows that we're watching currently, whether it be Love After Lockup, 90 Day Fiancé, From Inmate to Roommate, or anything of interest that y'all have any suggestions for us to review. We'll be happy to check those out, whether it be on Netflix or anything else like that. And again, hot topics that's going on. What we won't be doing, though, is anything that's political. I don't want to jump in that arena, and just want to keep it lighthearted over here. And then, if anyone has anything that they want to discuss that I haven't mentioned here that is not political, feel free to put it in the chat or join me online. So welcome to everybody. And it's also, I want to let you all know that I'm also multitasking too at the same time. So if you hear some extra clicks in the background, that's me going on the computer looking around my actual work day here. So it is currently 90 degrees here in town on a Thursday afternoon. It's pretty, for us, that's nice out west, and we appreciate the weather. Although for us, anything under 70 is chilly, and in the mornings it's been about 65, 68 degrees. So I've had to find an extra blanket. So I know that's surprising to those of you who don't, live out west, but when you're used to a certain temperature, anything under, like I said, 70 degrees is cold for us to acclimate our bodies to. But anyways, let's get started. So if you haven't seen the review, I had to do it solo because Millennial had other things to do. She's working on another degree, and I'm happy about that. So she had that obligation last night. So what did we think about prior decision day with the couples? I personally, and I really maybe shouldn't say it, but I actually thought this episode didn't give us much. To me, was a filler before decision day. I honestly think we could have saw them do a decision, the couples go to their separate homes, wherever they go, to think about it. And then next week should be decision day, but it didn't work out that way. Let me start with Nate and Stasia. Oh, let me read some comments. I'm sorry, you guys. 60 degrees weather is good for a warm beverage. Yes, it is. And let's see. What'd you say, Sharon? To stay in Ohio, but sunny, 60. Yeah, that's sweater weather for me. But anyways, back to Married at First Sight. So let me start with Nate and Stasia. I agree. It did not give much this episode. Nate and Stasia, I think that Nate is having a hard time dealing with a few things, and I mentioned in the review or recap if you didn't see it. I think that um, the decision of moving into Stasha's home after decision day, if they make it that far, because if you remember, he signed a post-nup after the honeymoon, and um, Nate, when we were introduced to Nate, I was under the impression that Nate lived with some roommates and they were in a, in a shared facility, shared house and stuff like that. So when he went to Stasha's house, he was saying, oh, how nice it was. And I'm not surprised how nice Stasha's house was, because she's told us about that every week, seemed like, except for last week. And he didn't feel comfortable being in there. You could tell that just walking in, having to take his shoes off, going to that hardware store, even to when them talking about babies. And I don't really think Nate has his own place to live, to be honest, because he was saying how if they happen to separate, then he would pretty much be homeless. So he doesn't have anything to fall back on. I find that interesting with Nate not having, a safety net in place when it comes to that, because he says he makes X amount of dollars per year, but yet at the same time he was living with roommates. Sharon says, do you think the house is part of the post-nup? I do not. I think that is Stasha's house. And I think that's the house that she said that she had built from the ground up. That's her baby. That's what she said. And so Nate is moving into her baby because when they were doing that housewares or at the wherever home improvement store they were shopping at, and Nate was trying to find things to put his touch in it, you could see that Stasha really didn't want him putting his touch in it, but at the same time, she was trying to make it seem like she was okay with it. And I don't think she is, because Stasha has been by herself. She's been, in her words, a boss this whole entire time. So I don't think she's used to having anyone living with her or telling her exactly what it is that she wants to do, or I don't know. So what'd you say? Universal advocate? Exactly. Truth will come out about him. Yes. There's something that we're missing with Nate. I'm not sure what, but there's something about his story, whether it be positive or negative. And I don't want to say, to either, but there's just something I've always said this whole season I can't put my finger on with Nate. And then Sharon, you say, I think it was the way she did everything. I'd feel uncomfortable too, saying my house. Yes, I agree. I would feel uncomfortable too, but to me, there's more to the story. It's got to be more that's being left on the editing room floor that we're not seeing with this couple. I think, yeah, they're connecting more sexually, but as far as the communications going, no, there's definitely, in my opinion, a lack there with that. But then when Nate and Stasha got to talking about having kids, I think that Nate still carries PTSD from his childhood, from his mother not being there. He elaborated a little bit more about his mom being 23 and his dad being 36 when they got together and had him, and how his mother wasn't ready to have kids. But yet Nate is saying when he does have kids, he wants to be there for the entire way, which is excellent. I like to hear that, because kids need both their mom and their dad. But Stasha says, well, when we have kids, how come we can't have fun too? How come we can't travel? And I'm thinking, yeah, maybe they should have had a baby like Miguel and Lindy. They should have their little baby McGindy themselves, because, if with children, especially when they're younger, the younger they are, the harder it is to travel with the child. So I don't think that she's really taking that into consideration. I think maybe Nate has thought about it a little bit more, because he came from a single family household where his dad was in the military and they traveled a lot. So maybe he could see like, yeah, we kind of need to get that out the way first before we have kids. So I think that's where he's coming from with this, but I could be wrong. I would like to know y'all's opinions on this as well. And then let's talk about Alexis and Justin really quick. I was surprised that Justin had to pick up his dog from the trainers. Now that dog has been gone. Okay, if this has been 8 weeks, the dog has been gone since they came back from the honeymoon. So about 7 weeks. And so if the dog has to be picked up because of liability issues, because he was biting other dogs, well, maybe the dog actually is a little bit more aggressive than Justin is trying to maybe realize. And so, let me read your comments. Universal Advocate said Nate says what he wants the camera to hear. I think so too, in a big way. I truly do. I agree with that. And then Sharon, you say, do you think it's too early to be discussing kids? Get to D-Day and take 6 months to get to know each other better. In this process, because Married at First Sight is a jumpstart process, you meet. Well, you don't meet. You meet at the altar. You're married. You honeymoon. You move in together. So I think life just starts right then and there. So I don't think anything is wrong with talking about kids in the future. But having them right now, I think, yeah, it's a little bit soon to have them right now. So I think they should like really see if they're going to make it past the 8 weeks, to set out to really have one. So no, I don't think it's too early, because they have to really talk about everything right now, from homes to finances to everything in general. And let's see, what else did you say? Maybe MAFS was paying for Maya. They probably were paying for Maya, but at the same time, with that dog being more aggressive, had to be picked up for liability issues. I think that the training people were giving Justin another opportunity to find the dog a home, because under the umbrella of dogs being aggressive like that, a lot of times they tend to put dogs down because, either they can't be rehomed or go to back to their own home. And it was a good thing that Justin had a friend who the dog also knew to go to a place that maybe, the dog can roam and not, be around other dogs or whatever, just, in his own place. But let's see. Universal Advocate. Yes, and Nate needs to work on his home training. Yeah, he does. Because that was a little rude. Before I get back to Justin and Alexis, I think that was a little rude or a little off-putting that you just come in somewhere and you just automatically like get in the tub and you just do little things already. But I guess that's the way of him saying he was home. I don't know. And then, but back to the dog and Justin, do y'all think that he and Alexis should have worked out the dog situation even more, or was it right for Justin to rehome it with his friend? I think Justin, in the episode last night, when he said that he made that sacrifice for himself, for Alexis, for him being a good husband, for him being a provider, that was his way of saying he was in 100%. And I think Alexis just like Miguel, to be completely honest, is there for the flow. I think that she's like, oh, okay, yeah, good. But at the same time, she's like, I really don't want to be here anyways. But if those two stay together on decision day, me personally would be mind blown, because I don't see it for them. I was rooting for them in the beginning, but no, their personalities clash too much. Universal Advocate says Justin should have tried a doggy daycare for the couple of weeks or at Foster's. Yes, maybe. Well, I think he was trying to do, if the dog was showing aggression, maybe the dog couldn't go to a doggy daycare. Maybe he thought like maybe training first, and then after training to bring the dog back to maybe try a doggy daycare to incorporate his dog and Alexis's dog back in the home at the same time. So I think his intention was good, but it just didn't work out for Maya. So, and then the scene where Alexis and Justin and Nate and Stasha, when they were exercising together, and how Alexis brought up the conversation about the dog, and Alexis mentioned to her in text about, I'm all in for you. And then when Justin was telling Nate about it, I thought it was interesting with Nate's reaction, saying how Alexis should be more, concerned in a roundabout way. She should be more concerned about Justin and his feelings. But at the same time, he said that he felt that Alexis was sneaky and gossipy. And I was like, wow. See, that's the second time we heard that about Alexis, because, she's getting the blame for breaking up Ben and Morgan. And do you all think that she broke up their relationship, or their relationship was already rocky, even though Ben was going to Justin for an outlet? So let me read some more comments here. Maya was comfortable with Justin's friend. Well, Maya was so comfortable with Justin's friend, seemed to be a good dog, just don't like other dogs get along with a cat well. That's true. Some dogs just don't get along with other dogs. And same thing like cats. Like either they grow up together in the same litter, as they mature, sometimes they just don't get along. And that was one of the points, even though I don't know what it was with Alexa's dog that she didn't like, excuse me. So guess Justin made the ultimate sacrifice for Alexis, whether she appreciated it or not. And Avila, I hope I'm saying you're right. If not, I apologize. I think Alexis didn't care much for the dog, nor Justin at this point. 1,000% agree. That has just been ongoing as the season has gone along, just how much Alexis and Justin have a disconnect in communication about everything. Just remember, they couldn't even have going all the way back to when they came back from the honeymoon, the dog situation, and then that 90s party. They couldn't even get on the same page for that, even though the dog was gone to the trainer. So Alexis never got past that situation when her dog being attacked. I don't think she ever will. Universal Actor says, Maya looks so sad. Yeah, I think dogs and cats or animals in general can sense something, whether it be positive or negative. The relationship was already rocky. Yes, I agree. And Sharon says, yes, she did look sad. Hey, Courtney, Eddie. Yes, she had to add to the breakup. Yes, she did. Alexis, I don't know. Whatever Alexis is looking for, she is not in Justin. Since she's been engaged 3 times and just broke it off for whatever reason, her personality is too strong for Justin, and Justin is too emotional for Alexis, and they do not, in my opinion, complement either each other at all. So let's go to Mitch and Kristen. I'm going to say that Kristen has become the counselor of this season, because every year there's a counselor. There's always somebody who comes out to give direction and guidance to the couples. And I'm just going to say right now, Kristen did better than me. She responded better than I would when Mitch came back from his conference and had his ring in that cup holder. And it was like, oh yeah, I'm married again. Honestly, she did better than me, because Kristen is already, in my opinion, walking on eggshells. Kristen already has to, feel like she's good enough for Mitch, because Mitch isn't exactly giving her the compliments that she's looking for. He's not giving her affirmations that she's looking for, And then when Mitch mentioned that when he went to the conference, and the reason why he took that ring off is because, he didn't want to have to tell. So if you're not already his friend group that don't know he's married, he didn't want to have to take the time to talk to the CEO or anyone else in the company, because it was just too much of an effort. Now, in a small way, I can see what Mitch was talking about, but in the bigger picture, the bigger scheme of things, first of all, you don't have to tell your business to anybody. You didn't have to go into detail about how you got married or why you got married, because if your friend group or whoever was close enough to be at the wedding, sometimes, there's a rumor mill or gossip that maybe someone already knows that you're married and the process that you went down to get married. I just think that, I don't know, I just think he could have handled that a completely different way, because like I said, Kristen's already walking on eggshells, so she already feels like she's not good enough. That to me couldn't help the situation. But I think Kristen wants to be married and to be a wife. This is what she has wanted to do for a long time, that she is willing to overlook these things with Mitch. And Mitch, to me, runs hot and cold. Miguel runs hot and cold. There's a lot of them that run hot and cold, but Mitch, I don't know. I think he needs to get out of his own way. He needs to think before he speaks, and just not be so lackadaisical all the time. Like, oh, well, yeah, I took off my ring, or, oh yeah, well, we don't use plastic bag, we use paper, and oh, we got to use paper straws. Like everything seems to be Mitch's agenda, and Kristen is bending and bending and bending for Mitch. And I don't really think he takes that into account. So let me read some comments here. Sharon, Mitch was Mitching this episode with his single weekend live. Mitch is Mitching every episode, if you ask me. Mitch is Mitching, Lindy is Mitching. Lindy is Lindying, but we'll get to that shortly. You agree, Kate? Yeah. Just say I got married. Exactly. You don't have to go into detail as to why you have a ring on. Clearly, you got married. Mitch said on the after show he should have kept the ring on. Well, hindsight is always 2020, at least it should be, but he definitely should have kept the ring on. And I hope he mentioned it on the after show, which I haven't seen yet, that the reasons why or how it would look to someone, your wife or your partner, that you took the ring off and you come back like, oh yeah, I'm married again. And then not just that, to make comments about, oh, well, I'm hungover, I had a good time. There's lots of, when Kristen asked, were there lots of cute girls? He's like, oh yeah, there's lots of cute girls, and talk about he was in the hot tub with no swim shorts on. So a lot more reasons to fuel the fire as to why Kristen, doesn't feel complimented or have her affirmations from Mitch. But I don't know if they make it, but I could see them honestly saying yes on decision day. I can, but do I see it long term? I don't, but I don't know. We'll have to wait and see on that one. And let's see. Sharon, he's rebellious though, and he's proud of it. Yes, because if you remember too, his sister-in-law said that they clashed as well in the very beginning. So there's something about Mitch's personality where he's Mitch's all the time. And so when Mitch and Kristen met up with Alexis and Justin later on that evening, the conversation talked about from Alexis and Justin about the dog situation and how there's only 90% being given by Alexis. And Alexis is questioning Justin as to why is it wrong for me to give my 90% if she's not really sure, and why would you be basing your decision off of my decision? And are you still basing your decision off of the dog Maya? And Justin is telling her, well, I want you to know that because I gave up the dog for you, I gave the dog for the marriage so that we can make things work and go forward. And I don't think Alexis, again, I know we touched on it a little bit ago, is hearing what he's saying. But at the same time, to me, in relationships, especially when you're married, but in general, there is no I give 50%, you give 50%. It should be you give your all, I give my all, and your all should be at 100. Anything less than 100 is not giving your all. I can see where Justin is feeling like, you might not be all the way in it. But for Alexis, I don't know. I think 90% for her might be right now giving her all with the slight benefit of the doubt. But I think she set her percentage a little too high. But Justin, he's not hearing none of this. He's already told us that he has taken his emotions out of this, and he knows what the decision is going to be for him on decision day. So I don't know. I think Justin has finally seen the light. He's woke up and maybe sees that Alexis may not be his person. Versus, and then we hear Mitch and Kristen, and they talk about that conference thing. And I don't know, he kind of does a Nate for me. He tries to say things that sound good to Kristen or kind of like keep her off his back, because he knows that Kristen has his back at the end of the night. So what'd you say, Sharon? Good point, each person. Yes, 100%. So let's move to Lindy and Miguel. Oh my gosh. Was Lindy happy to get her insurance card from Miguel? Was that her highlight? Oh my goodness. But the highlight was taken down a notch because Lindy was talking about hyphenating her last name. And Miguel wants to know, well, why you want to do that? And I'm thinking, well, Miguel, when you ordered the insurance card, Did you order the insurance card in her name, or did you automatically put your name on it? Because technically you can't put someone else's name on it unless it's legally changed. So I'm just kind of curious to know whose name was on that. But ever since the retreat, ever since the taking of the pictures, ever since waking up Miguel to take a picture, ever since the dodgeball game where they were on separate teams and Lindy is cheering for her team and Miguel's like, why are you cheering for them? You should be cheering for me because I'm your husband. I'm thinking that's not how it works when you play a game. Like if your significant other is on the other team and that you're playing against, you don't root for them. I mean, maybe in your mind, you're like, oh, I hope you do good. But the goal is to for your team to win. And so I think Miguel was going through something that maybe we didn't see before they got to retreat, because his sensitivity level on just any conversation with Lindy was just, to me, blown out of proportion. And like he took a mole and what they say, you make a mountain out of a molehill. That's what he was doing to me. And that to me made it draining when it came to watching Miguel and Lindy. Watching them made it draining, watching them go back and forth about who's right, who's wrong about the communication. I mean, for it to continue into this episode too, and they didn't even get anywhere where they wanted to be. So what you say? Lindy has taken Justin's place. Oh, in the crying department? Yeah, she has. You said, what is the big deal about her last name being changed or hyphenated? I don't know, but I have heard in relationships before that when it comes to some men, they would like to have the woman take their name. They don't want to hyphenate it. I even have a story about that with me when I was married many years ago, that my ex-husband didn't want me to hyphenate my name. He just wanted my name to be, what it was now when we got married. And I didn't understand the concept as to why. So, but anyway, some men are like that. They don't realize that when you're professional, you're known as your professional name, but at home and your friend life and everything else, you're known by your married name. So maybe Miguel is, one of those type of people. Hey, Kelsey, long time no see. Hope you're doing good. And so, everybody, I have to say this. Don't forget to like this show and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. And we do have a a membership, and that's found on our community page if you're interested in knowing anything else about that. All right, so who are we missing? So we did Nate, Sasha, Lindy, Miguel, Justin, and Alexa, and Kristen and Mitch. So we pretty much touched about everyone when it comes to that. So let's see. Say, Kelsey, wouldn't give up my whole name. I'm doing too because my name is part of my business. Well, you didn't put it. Exactly. When you're known as something else in your professional and your business life, this is who I'm known as. But to family or friends, then, I could be known as Mrs. Somebody or, whatever the case may be. But you shouldn't have to, get so upset that I didn't change my name, So like I said, I think something else was going on with Miguel that we didn't see on the way up there or in a previous episode to get him and Lindy on this path of non-communication. Because I already know, or we've already seen, in my opinion, Miguel, checking his boxes as to why they may not make it after 8 weeks, whether he's saying that to Lindy, whether he's saying that in group conversation, whether he's saying that to a friend. But there's something else that turned that key just a little bit more, that turned that fire back up to where he just, I don't know. They just couldn't see anything eye to eye. Let me see. We completely missed something with Miguel. I think it was work related. He said at the prom, he didn't want to be there. Yeah, we missed something definitely for sure. Abijah, Sharon, Kelsey, I swear I was going to ask Kay about you. Haven't seen you on a live in a while. Yeah, I know that Casey had, I'll read it. At home, I'm Mrs. Whoever, but in the world, who I am, Miss Brown. Yeah, exactly. So, I know Kelsey has had some milestones that she's had, so she wants to share, she can, but congratulations, like I mentioned to you on Instagram. Very proud of you, Kelsey. But who do we think is going to say yes on decision day. Now, we do realize that decision day and reunion, two different things, two different outcomes as we've seen as the show has progressed. So, for example, they'll say yes on decision day, but then when they get to the reunion, it's a completely different situation. So, I'll go first. And for decision day, I think as of last night, even though my mind wasn't really changed because nothing really seemed to change with what we saw to me in the filler episode yesterday, I'm going to say after all that, out of Lindy and Miguel, I think one will say yes. I think Lindy will say yes before Miguel will say no, but somehow I think they're going to stay together. So I'm still on the fence about that. So let me say it this way. I think Miguel and Lindy, after all this, will say yes. I think Justin and Alexis will say no. I think Kristen and Mitch will say yes. I think Nate and Sasha will say yes. But even though my mind is saying Nate might say no, I don't know. So when it comes down to it, I think they'll all say yes. But at decision, I mean not decision day, at the reunion, I can see in my mind, I can see Miguel and Lindy not being together anymore. And I can wait, did I say I'll say yes? No, I said no. Alexa and Justin will say no, the rest will say yes. Oh, you think so, Abisha? Wow. Okay. All right. Kelsey, I'm gonna bring you up. I'm on the screen. I can see you. So here we go.
Hey y'all.
Hey, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good, good. Y'all see me next time. I'm just trying to let my hair grow out. So
You don't need to let that hair grow out. You pretty bald or with a head full of hair.
congratulations on everything, Kelsey. So proud of you.
Thank you. So I finally got moved back to Alabama and I bought a house, and so I've been getting that together. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, no, so it's going good. No, I agree with you, Mom. I would not change my whole name. That's just not, we're not doing that.
Mm-hmm.
In my personal life, I'll be Mrs. Whoever, but my professional life, you didn't put in on this.
Right.
And so you don't get any like claim to any of this. Um, I, I don't think any of them will make it long term.
Mm-hmm.
I think Nate and Stasha will say yes because both of them want to be married, but Stasha gonna get in her own way.
Yes.
And Nate is gonna find a reason to have the "I told you so" moment, um, because he's looking for reasons to say "gotcha."
Mm-hmm.
I don't foresee that really happening. Justin and Alexis, they should have just went on. And Justin knew his dog was a demon dog. Like when a dog has bit people that many times, you need to just go ahead and put that dog down. But Alexis is wrong for putting that man's business out there like that. She could have just said, at first it was awkward, but we're having a good time and kept it at that. Like she didn't have to dog that man that way. That was just so inappropriate. She don't want him for real. She likes that he's all about her, but she don't really like him for real. And
Mm-hmm.
bitch don't like Kristen. He wants her, and he wants to complain about the makeup. But when he met the mom was all dolled up, and he was living for it.
I
Thank you.
agree.
Yeah, don't see them working out at all. I don't foresee any of that working out. I don't think that they really are compatible. Mitch needs to find somebody that's exactly like him. And I don't think he's gonna find that in Christine, but I don't she'll be what he's.
Okay.
I, I, I
Yeah,
I don't really,
I
and
think
nothing
that,
about these couples to me.
go ahead.
Yeah, nothing about these couples to me seem like longevity. Like the things that they have to work on, I don't think. can be worked on as a couple unless they really are willing to be honest with each other and themselves. Like Miguel, he was just trying to pick a fight with Lindy. That's all that was. He was trying to pick a fight to see her on 10, so he had a reason to get rid of her.
Yes,
To
I
me,
agree.
to me, he's a very passive aggressive guy who, you know, realistically, a guy with his pedigree in terms of like degree and financial status should have women beating down his door. And when they don't, that says something.
Right. I
Like,
honestly, I thought that this season, because I was so excited it was coming to the West Coast, would be something different. And I'm have to say it wasn't. It was very disappointing. It was disappointing from not having the experts there. Is it just me or do the experts there less and less? And then since we were introduced to one new expert and a guest panelist in Devon, like where were these people? We only got the new expert twice.
filming the next season. That's where they were. To me, they don't leave enough space in between the seasons for the experts to be fully present. They don't, and my thing is like a lot of the stuff they do together is like group activities, and they don't need to do group activities. They need to maybe do one or two activities, but the amount of time they spend together to me is a detriment because like that whole Morgan and Ben thing, Alexis orchestrated that whole thing. She's messy.
Yeah.
And Nate said it best. They the two messy people are together. Like he
Yeah.
cried too much and she talked too much. So I don't really foresee them being able to be with anybody because Justin is very insecure as a human being in general, and Alexis is also just as insecure, but she masked her insecurity by being nasty to other people, and I just don't think that that's right. I don't think they'll last. I think Nate and Sasha will last for the minute because Sasha wants kids. But I don't foresee them lasting past like a couple of kids, like 5 or 6 years in the line when he's still not making equal to what she makes. And then they're having children and she's having to put forth more money for childcare and those things. It's going to breed resentment on her half. And then they're living in her home.
Yeah.
So no matter what he does, he's always going to be a step behind. Personally, I feel like they should maintain separate residences until they're able to really have, you know, a really solid foundation. Yeah, that's true, Sharon. But
Yeah.
I think he goes back. I don't think it's just that he's getting used. I think it's he stays too long and he nags and he nags and he nags. So they're like, I might as well get something out of this.
Yeah, I still think there's like I was saying earlier, there's still part of something about Nate's story that we don't know because it don't add all the way up. It doesn't get to, at least in my eyes. So
what makes you think it's wrong? Like that's missing.
Well, did you see the episode last night?
I watched part of it.
Okay, so when they were talking about kids having kids and things like that, he was saying, so what happens if you get mad at me or we break up for some reason, then I'll be homeless. I'll have nowhere to go. Because when they came back from the honeymoon and he was showing Stasha his place, I'm like, no, that's not just your place. You were living with roommates. So where is your place? So then he confirmed that to me when he said, well, something happens, I'll end up homeless because Stasha and him signed a post-nup, if you remember, or maybe you didn't hear about it. When he comes in with his stuff, she comes in with her stuff. So where's he gonna go? So there's something missing. So you were living with your roommate, so you don't have a solid place to live. So there's something housing, financial that.
Do you think it's like a Christina off of the New Orleans season where he's really a homosexual and he's just couch surfing?
It's possible.
Because I mean, if he's a realtor and he's making what $100K a year, I think is what he said, and she's making $500,000. If that's the case, that's her house, so she should be paying the mortgage because whether she knows or not, California is a 50-50 state, and he can get that post-nup put invalid, or she got to pay him back the money that he spent paying on that mortgage. So if he is smart, like he claims to be, then you
Mhm.
have something on the side for yourself that in case she kicks you out. And I hope you put in that post-nup that you got 90 days before you got to leave. That gives you enough time to find somewhere to stay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
So
that,
that.
that's simple business practice. And with him being a realtor, he should know that off top. Like nobody can just put you out. If you get mail there, that's your address. If you stay somewhere more than 3 days, that's your address.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I don't understand why he's so like upset about that. My thing is, as a man, you should be sitting there thinking, okay, well, not only what if, she breaks up with you, what if there's a fire, a flood, another earthquake, and that house is damaged and destroyed? Then what?
Hmm.
Same thing. So like you should have a contingency plan to where like if you need to go get you a spot, you can go get you a spot.
Right. Yeah.
Like that's
So
like that's anybody. That's anybody that's a grown working adult. You don't put your eggs in another person's basket.
that's true, and that's exactly what he's done so far. Like I said, he doesn't, have anywhere to go afterwards. He's made that clear. And so the house that he showed, I'm like, so remember, if you saw it, there was dirty wine glasses in the
Yeah,
cabinet and
yeah,
stuff.
yeah. But my thing is, I looked over that because he lives with other people, so you can't control what other people do. You can't run behind them like Molly the maid.
No, I understand that, but it was presented as if that was his house. You know what I'm saying? Like
Oh,
he was.
I guess as if it was only him living there.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, but in the beginning, didn't it talk about how he had roommates?
Yes, but that I don't think that was told to Stasha. Like I said, because she asked him questions again. Back to those wine glasses, like why do you have dirty wine glasses? Why do you have empty cleaner bottles? And there was no explanation for that. But he told us, I get before they met that he was. That's how we met Nate, living with roommates. So I don't think that was conveyed to Stasha, because again, if they didn't make it, in his words, if you got put out, then you would go back home. So clearly you can't go back home because that's with your roommates. Maybe you've been replaced with another roommate. You see what I'm
No,
saying?
my thing is until they like this is my thing. He should still pay that lease and keep a spot over there for the interim until that lease is up. And by then, I would imagine that they know whether or not they're gonna make it. Because whether he got 5 or 6 months left on the lease or however long, he should still ride that lease out, and she should be paying that mortgage because that's not his house.
Right. I agree.
So either way, you still coming off the same amount of money. So now I feel like he should still pay rent there, but they're responsible for the utilities and stuff because he ain't staying there. But when it comes to him and Stasha, then they split the utilities and she paid the mortgage because that's her house.
Mm-hmm.
And let him pay all of the utilities and she just pay the mortgage. And
Right. Well,
keep it simple and let him keep that place until they really get a firm, solid foundation and keep it pushing. Like these issues are not hard issues.
right.
These are just excuses.
I agree. So do
Like,
you?
go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, I agree with you completely. So do you think they'll make it?
I think they'll make it to the point of having 1 or 2 children, and then I think they'll be done.
Okay.
Because I don't think Nate has the level of drive that Stasha has. And until she lets go of her frigidity of how things have to be perfect, because when they were talking about the whole kids thing, like, yeah, you may have never written on a wall, but guess what? Your kid may.
Right.
I've never written on the wall because I knew that was against the rules. But I've also spilt milk in my room, and I had carpet, and my mama made me keep that carpet for a month so that I could smell the small milk, so I could learn that you eat in your room.
But kids
Yeah,
make
kids do stuff.
yeah, they
Kids
do
do
stuff.
stuff.
You
The
can't say what
first,
they will or won't do because they'll try
yeah,
it once to be corrected. So
exactly. And that's the thing too. It's like the parent that says their kid will never is always the parent that finds out their kid did.
right.
and
Exactly.
and her level of like how it has to be a certain way, that's gonna have to change because when you have kids, it's not about what you say, it's about what happens with that child. Because when your child is 6 months old and is crying and won't go to sleep, it's not a okay, time to go to bed, little Timmy. It's not that. And I don't think she realizes that what she's asking for requires a lot of flexibility on her part, but also with Nate, he is waiting for her to dip out like his mama.
Exactly.
He is waiting for the shoe to drop. Because my thing is, he as a realtor knows, because I mean, this, and the reason I say this is because I just bought a house and my realtor broke down all the rules about, if you got your boyfriend over there, this kind of stuff. She broke it all down to me like, hey, I'm just letting you know these rules. So as a realtor, he knows these things. So if you sign the post up, then say, okay, hey, I got 90 days, then I got to bounce.
Right.
And my thing is, if you're making 100K, whatever, what have you, a man don't need much, you
Mm-hmm.
know. So, a man can live in kind of a quote unquote rougher neighborhood than a girl.
Mm-hmm.
So my thing is, you keep the apartment, still live with her, y'all get it together. Then once that lease is up, then y'all make the decision, okay, I'm gonna let this go and I'm gonna just go on about my business and live with you. And then my thing is like just like what he's doing is sabotaging himself and she's sabotaging herself. They're
Right.
never gonna get in the middle unless they both give up that control. Because if
Right.
he's married, he really do love her, he in love with her, but he's scared to let her know that because he feels like it's gonna give her power over him.
I agree with that. And I also think that they should have got a baby just like Miguel and Lindy did too. So
They
they can
should have. They should have. Not I think she wants a baby more so because she's 37 and less to do with her just actually wanting a child.
mm-hmm.
So, yeah, Sharon, I agree. I wonder, did he ever go to therapy to start that process? Because they talk about women with daddy issues, but men be having mommy issues
Oh
real
yeah.
bad,
Oh yeah.
and it is difficult. It is very difficult because I sit in my office and I switched to hospice care now, but before I did that marriage counseling, I saw a lot of men that the reason they were the way they were is because they had mama issues because they were raised by their grandmama, they were raised by their aunt, they were raised by their dad, and they never got that full closure as to why their mother couldn't parent them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And Nate, I don't think, and his dad don't seem like the type to really like go into detail. And I guarantee you, his dad was like, "Well, she ain't here. I'm here. Do what I tell you to do."
Yeah, I don't see his dad have gone into detail either. Just know, I think it was like, just know that I'm here for you. Your mom didn't want to be there. All the things possibly that could go wrong, that went wrong with their relationship with the mom, because he said
Mm-hmm.
he was 23 and his dad was 36. So that already is a
He
larger
shouldn't have been
age.
that far. No way.
Yeah, well.
I'm just keeping it a buck. Like even at approaching 30, if someone that was 43 wanted to talk to me, I would have to be like, "So why do you want to talk to me?
Mm-hmm.
Like I should be a child to you."
Yeah,
Because
I
nobody 18 years old is attractive to me. You are a child.
exactly. I agree with that too.
So,
So, so what do you think about? Okay, did you say Mitch and Kristen will make it, or what?
no, I don't think they will just because I think they'll make it for the interim because she just wants to be married.
Mm-hmm. I
She
agree.
wants to prove that she can keep a man. Because anybody that goes on a honeymoon by themselves, they
Right.
desperate to keep a man.
Right.
And the fact that he told her sister that he wished like how can he change her appearance? That would have
Right.
been enough for me. That and then the fact that she did double down and apologize to him. I was like, no, you had nothing to be sorry for.
Yeah, he's done a lot of things, in my opinion, along the way that were very. He may not have known they were underhanded, but they were underhanded.
Oh, he knew. He
And
knew.
with the last time, yesterday's episode with that ring, oh yeah, that would have sealed my no for me. But Kristen, I agree. She just
What
wants.
happened with the ring?
Mitch went to a conference for a few days,
Mm-hmm.
and he came back home. They were on their way to the beach to have a day for themselves. And Kristen says, "Oh, so where's your ring?" And he takes it out the cup in the cup holder. It's like, "Oh yeah, I'm
Mm-hmm.
married again." I'm like, "Oh no." So he had his ring off because he didn't want to explain to the people at his job that he was married. So that to me was just like, that sealed it for me if I was Kristen. So you have to watch the episode, Kelsey, to even comment, because my face was like, oh my goodness.
I mean, I saw the previews, but I had class last night, so
Oh yeah, you got to watch that part. And then Kristen, she kind of, her eyes got big, like wow. And then Mitch was just saying things like, he They was out karaokeing, had a good time. He goes, yeah, I was just living like a single life. I'm like, yeah, okay, I got
So
you.
he's telling her, he's prepping her for if it comes out, is what it sounds like to me. Like, you know, like when somebody tells you, oh yeah, we had a good time, we got wild. And then when it comes out, oh, okay, yeah, then that, if his mom is Asian, then that explains a lot.
Uh-huh.
Um, but he's prepping her for like if it comes out later. Like, you know how it's like when a man is cheating and he
Mhm.
knows it may get found out, he gonna kind of prep you a little bit. And then when you remember I told you how you got crazy. You remember? And
Yeah.
my thing is, I get him not wanting to tell people he married,
Hmm.
because it is so new, and then you got to explain to people you got divorced, and that just puts some people in your business and you need. But
Right.
my thing is this: the minute you got back from that conference, that ring should have went right back on. When you got in the car on the way home, that ring should have right back on.
Nah, he was like, oh
And
yeah. He was like, oh yeah. I was like, oh no.
no, and to me, Mitch is also a lot like Nate,
I
in
agree.
that he has very, like, you know, because his parents were divorced and this and the third, and his dad passed away. Like Mitch is someone that he fixates on things with like the environmental stuff. And the thing of it is, I think he has an issue with Kristen is because she's successful and the things that he wanted to do with that sunscreen line were not. And so he is someone that cannot accept that he has failure. And so he
Mhm.
wants to downgrade and diminish what you do. Oh,
Yeah.
I definitely think he did it on purpose, Sharon. I absolutely think it, because he doesn't want to leave her because he doesn't want to look bad. He wants her to leave him.
Yeah.
He wants to manipulate her and shape her into who he wants her to be.
Hmm.
And he has no attraction to her. Because if someone tells my sister, if they go to my sister Sean, they're like, Sean, how do I get Kelsey wearing so much makeup, and which she doesn't even wear a lot of makeup, and you know, get more hippie and get more environmental and do something? Then to me that would mean you don't like who I am as a person. So who I am and values and who my morals mean nothing to you, because I won't dress like I don't bathe and I won't use reusable cups.
Right.
Somehow I am less than you. But you are
Right.
a 43-year-old man who has never been married, and from what I can tell, probably had a serious longevity relationship. The sister-in-law really wanted to tell her he ain't nothing, but she can't say that.
Right. She probably
So
told her off camera, like, girl, text me later tonight.
yeah, it's one of those like when you have a meeting with somebody and you and you text them like when we get off the call, I'm gonna say what I really think.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
it's one of those, you know, like when you with your coworkers and you can't say what you want to say, so you gotta wait till you get, you know, when it's just y'all two. But he is a self sabotager because he wants to see how far he can push her, how far he can mold her. And Kristen is the type of person, she is very moldable
Yes.
because she doesn't have any self-respect. She doesn't have any self-esteem because the fact that she did not set boundaries and consequences and rules of engagement after he showed his tail that first time lets you
Hmm.
understand she'll continue to be a doormat just for the sake of saying she has a man and because she wants a baby.
Yeah. I
Like,
think that was the trend. That was the trend this season. Every season has a trend, whether it be the trauma
mhm,
bonding or something like that. But this season's trend was, I'm older. I want to get married. I want this now. It doesn't matter what you say to me. I know you underhand undermine my intelligence, what I look like, trying to make me feel bad, put me down. We don't communicate, gaslighting. That was this season for me.
it was for sure. Like, I definitely agree with you. Like, you know, when Mindy got mad at Miguel for not putting her on his health insurance, I don't blame him because my thing is she's a physical therapist. If you work part-time, you need to go full-time and get you some health insurance because that's not that man's responsibility.
I agree
Like,
with that
like,
too.
like that to me is crazy that she thinks that he, and then and the way she like flipped out, but you don't want to change your name, but you want him to be medically responsible for you. That's the same thing.
Hmm.
So to me, it's a lot of adults who are physically in age, but emotionally, mentally, and communicatively less than their physical age.
Agreed completely.
And
Yes.
I don't really first, and I think that's why they have made it this far in life and they're alone.
Yeah.
Alexis is alone because she messy, and don't no man want no messy woman unless he just is messy.
And
And
she's a little more aggressive. She's a little bit more aggressive on the masculine side too. So that
she
makes
is. She's very aggressive. And she was saying how, she has to be aggressive in her profession and she wants to be more submissive at home. Well, she has a 6 foot plus beta male. That's never gonna happen.
Right.
And anytime he tries to exert some alpha qualities, she cuts him off at the knees.
Yeah.
And so, personally, I wouldn't have gotten rid of the dog. I would have got rid of the wife. But but at the end of the day, that dog doesn't need to be put down because it got kicked out of doggy jail.
Yeah.
It had been other dogs before. Like, once a dog gets aggressive like that, you just have to either rehome them to like a facility or put them down. I know
Right.
that
Well,
sounds
I think that was the opportunity. Excuse me. That was the opportunity to see if the dog, was a well. Justin said it wasn't a one-time thing. The dog was aggressive before. Then her dog came along, did the same thing. Now he got rehomed to be retrained, or the she or whatever the dog is, and had issues there. So I do believe the next step was that, but he had his friend step up to take care of the dog. Like I said, hopefully the dog could be somewhere where it could roam and be by itself, because that's the next step. That they only get more aggressive. They don't reverse aggression.
absolutely. Yeah, and the way they introduced those dogs were completely wrong anyway.
True.
Like both of those dogs should have been in a neutral place that had room. It should have been like at a park or something like that, and they should have gradually introduced these dogs, like basically the dogs date each other.
Right.
And but I don't think it would have made any difference because that dog's just aggressive. It's just Sharon's funny.
Yeah.
No, I just to me this season was a for real disappointment.
Yes.
And this is just speaking like I really could care less about Kristen or Miguel and them, but my real disappointment is in Nate and Stasha and Alexis and Justin. Specifically more so in Alexis because like as a Black woman, you know how you're gonna be perceived.
Yes.
And you know the things that people are gonna say about you, especially as a darker complected woman. You know what I'm saying? There are certain things that you to pass on because you're lighter, and you can fight me on it if you want. I don't really care. But Alexis, nobody likes the messy girl. Nobody likes the aggressive messy girl who basically emasculates her husband.
Thank you, Sharon.
I just it really saddens me that like this is the representation. And my thing is like I don't know if her mother or the older women in her family talked to her about keeping in-house business in-house. Like she always has a comment on somebody's relationship. Like she really Ben and Morgan probably could have worked something out if she wasn't so messy. Now Morgan was looking for an out, but she would have probably been able to work through things with Ben if Justin and Alexis weren't so messy.
I agree. And I agree. And we've talked about it a few seasons now. We're always looking for positive representation as Black women, Black men, because we don't get to necessarily see that on shows like this. They're typically on other shows that may bring the mess and the drama that you want, that you're looking for mess and drama if you're into that. But that's not to me what Married at First Sight is. We discussed this many times.
No, yeah, and I think that like the difference, because I've watched every season. The difference that I saw between the first few seasons and this one, it seems like since they made the switch over to Lifetime, none of these couples make it really. And I think also like if these people didn't apply, they shouldn't have been recruited. Like to me, there hasn't been any good solid representation since Woody and Amani. Like Woody and Amani, and then I'm trying to think of who else. And I'll even give it to Karen and Miles because I understood where Karen was coming from. Like her,
look now I can see.
Like her standoffish nature. Like I can fully understand that because I am that way. Gotta check in for a pulse sometimes, and so I think that just like she should have like they should have sat down and said to each other, okay, listen, I mean, they are a united front, but just the way in which they go about things, I don't appreciate. And my thing is, I was always raised to mind the business that pays you.
Yes.
And if my homegirl told me something, I'm not gonna go back into my man and be like, whoop de whoop, this. And when Justin told me that, I would have kept it between us. I wouldn't have went back and told her.
Exactly.
And
That
if I did say something, I would suggest I would say, hey, encourage him to talk to her, and I'll encourage her to talk to him. Be a mediator, be a peacemaker, be a problem solver. Don't be a problem starter. I would have said to her, listen, you want to be married. And girl, you did tell a few little stories. You what you said was true, but the way you went about it was kind of a lie. Like, y'all need to sit down and talk about that. But my thing is, once Ben got burned by them once, you don't go back twice.
exactly. I was gonna say that. You don't go back twice. Shame me once, fool on you. Shame me twice, shame on me.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, too, Alexis. So to me, there's no exaggeration in her personality. That is
Mm-mm.
exactly who Alexis is, about not keeping
Every day,
business
every day, all day.
be. They hit the nail on the head with her, and that's really unfortunate because
Nate called it out. Nate called it out 100%. And I have noticed that Sasha don't really fool with her like that.
mm-hmm.
Like, normally the black girls kind of always bond every season.
Yeah.
Like Woody, Amani and Karen are real close. Like Deanna and what's up, girl?
Oh, I can't think of her.
I don't know why I want to call her Iris, but
No, not Iris. That one. She was on another show, but I know who you're talking about.
yeah, the one that was a virgin with Keith.
Oh, that was Iris. Wasn't it Iris? That was Iris. Yeah, that was Iris.
Okay, yeah, that was Iris. Okay, yeah, them. They always seem to be close. DC, they're close. And to me, like this season, I've noticed the girls aren't really as close as the other season girls are.
Yeah, there's a little bit more pull back.
Every season. Yeah, and it's not even that they're older because the New Orleans crew was older, with the exception of Miles. So, Sasha the X shots with her. I was surprised too. I think Sasha's kind of wanting to keep the peace so she can get the tea. Whereas Nate ain't fooling with him, because you would think that Justin would have confided in Nate before he confided in Ben. But see, Nate was like, Nate grew up with that dad who was like, all that soft stuff he ain't doing.
Yeah.
And so he looked at Justin as being weak. Because if you watch the after show, he got nothing for Justin. Like, he ain't got nothing for him.
But at the same time, would you, knowing what Alexis has put out the business, would you, as the other couples, tell her anything?
Nothing that I wouldn't want to get out. Like, I would keep it real, like co-worker surface level, so you can't say I'm being funny.
Yeah.
Real water cooler talk. That's all I would give you. Like, I wouldn't confide. To me, if I was Stacia, I wouldn't confide in none of those women because ain't none of them got it together. Like, Amani and Karen, they both were very self-assured women, and Lindy and Kristen are both scared of their own shadows.
Yeah. Like I said, this because I'm gonna wrap it up in a minute, but like I said, this season, I just, me and Millennial or Cassandra, we were like, yes, come to the West Coast. They came here, and you didn't give us nothing. You didn't give us.
They would have been like, to me. I feel like I want to see them go to like some cities that are like some states. Oh yeah, Nate did a lot. Like, I want to see them come to like New Mexico or come to Vegas or come to like hell, I can even see them coming to Alabama. Now, I don't know what the marriage laws are, down here, but I would just imagine, like, it's the way in which they go about things.
Mm-hmm.
It's the recruitment for me, and maybe they have to recruit because enough people are like joining now because the success rate is so low. And then Pastor Cal said that the black men who audition for this show don't want to marry black women. And the thing of it is they, and then he also said too that they don't have white women that are willing to marry non-white men. And to me, Clara was the exception, but to
Yeah.
me that was my fetishy. That wasn't really like
Yeah. I didn't like that relationship anyway. What was his? I forgot his name, but I could see his
Ryan. Yeah,
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 Ryan.
that was real like. Mm-mm. And I've watched some of her and Virginia's TikToks, and it's just giving. It's basically giving white trash. Is what it's giving.
Oh goodness. No, I haven't seen any.
Girl,
But yeah,
it's
I would like to
yeah,
see them branch out more too, but not be so quick to turn these shows back around. Try
yeah,
to get
like I want to see them have like some weight, some process, some like time where they don't, like because the experts are MIA because they're busy filming the next season. And to
right,
me, I feel like they should give like a 3-month gap. So like once they get into the process, like halfway through, then the experts start doing the other shows.
right. And I
And
also
then
saw, did you see, excuse me, did you see
Mhm.
that I saw on Instagram now casting for Married at First Sight Denver? So I'm not sure when that's coming up or what the next
I know
one is.
that might be a look. That might be a look. I don't know. I mean, because Denver is a very like chill city, so maybe it might be something, because even though Denver is kind of a little bit west, they still have that southern values in those smaller towns. So
Okay.
I mean, I could see it might be a look, but I don't foresee it being anything. Like I have no hope for the show after the way this season has been. For me, this has been the most driest, unprepared cast that I've
Hmm.
ever. Like, there's usually one or two couples that's a little bit much, but it's the whole cast.
Exactly. And we don't say that often. We've been writing
Mhm.
this for a long time. You, I, and everyone else in the chat, most of us have been writing for Married at First Sight a long time. And this cast, I mean, you never think they'll outdo the last cast, like the Mirlas and the Chris and the, what was her name? Chris and I forgot her name already.
Paige.
The Page. But this cast here, I mean, it seemed like everything was wrong.
And,
Like
and, and it's
everything.
not that they have like worse or issues. It's just the overall tone and demeanor and presentation of these people.
Yeah.
Like these are, and the crazy part is they're very successful in their professional lives,
Hmm.
but their personal lives are tragic,
Exactly.
are very dysfunctional. But I guess where you succeed in one, you fail in another. Um, but
There it
I
is.
just yeah, it to me it just didn't really nothing about this was crazy. And then to me, Lindy and Miguel, they also had a job to do. They had to represent for their culture. And Miguel really showcased the machismo, the like typical Latin temper, like he can't control his feelings, you know, demeaning his wife,
Yeah.
and Lindy's the crazy spicy Latina. Like, and the thing of it is, they both are doing the same thing. She wants to go off to see what he can handle, and he wants to go off to see what she does.
Yeah.
And that's never going to work.
Yeah. And one thing too, and then I'm gonna wrap it up, that I have appreciated how they've tried to put in people of other cultures, for
Mm-hmm.
Asian cultures, things like that. But I think they need to do more research on the Asian culture they're trying to bring in, because they can't get past the conflict in the very beginning, like the Ben and what, I forgot her name already, and then the
Morgan.
Morgan and Ben, and then what was the last two?
Johnny and Bao.
Johnny and Bao. Like, I was really looking forward to them. I was rooting for them. But
Johnny and Bao ruined that for the whole. Like they embarrassed their culture, in
exactly,
my opinion.
they had a
Like
backstory. How do you
like
bring people
they
on here to
really
get a backstory?
showcase they really showcase the worst of their culture within the two of them, because the stereotypical of like the Asian man is pampered and catered to, and then the Asian woman is a tiger and she's unflexible, like, to me. But once Bao started going with Zach, I lost all respect.
Oh yeah, so
Like
that's what I'm.
I had no more sympathy for her, because to me she's very calculated.
Hmm.
It was just like Johnny was saying, she's calculated. But I mean that whole season to me was crazy, in the sense of none of them should have been together. Like Ryan was mad about Brett getting old dude's number. But but then again, don't no man want no nasty woman. So I just it was just a hot mess.
Yeah, that season was a mess. Yeah. And like I said, if they have backstories, like if they've known each other previously, don't put them together. Like that don't work. Don't.
But see, I mean, the thing it was they wouldn't have never known that until they got together.
Oh,
So
okay.
like they, so it's not like, but my thing is also remember the Asian community is small, no matter
Mhm.
where you go. So, and they're both of the same, I think they're both Vietnamese. They're both of
Yes,
Vietnamese, I
because they're
think.
Vietnamese. Yeah.
Yeah,
Hmm.
so that means it's an even smaller like subset of a culture. And with them being the same age and them going to the same university, the chances of them knowing each other were very, very, high.
Right.
But Bao, she actually went in and had a list of names. So I don't know. I think it just was a luck of the draw. But I think he didn't ever want her for real.
Hmm.
But he had to go through with it. And he
Yeah.
was hoping maybe he had changed and it was ever going to work. But this is a really sad season, but we'll see. I only look for Stacia and Nate to make it, and Kristen and Mick. The other
Hmm.
ones, I think they'll break up eventually.
Yeah. So I'm gonna leave on this, and then next week we'll do hot topics because I missed out on this time. But on that on Johnny and Ben, the one thing that they had in common was the disapproval of their fathers.
Oh
That's
yeah. Yeah, and they both ended up with women that cut them off at the knees. Like
yeah.
Morgan would never let him get his point across because she wanted to stay mad. She is someone that always wants to hold a grudge and stay mad and and present her best self and this other third. And my thing is, Ben did the number one no of telling their business. He should have let her. I don't know. Is she a nurse or is she not a nurse? I don't really know for sure.
Uh,
But
she, I think she said she was a semester shy of being and have a BSN RN. I think she had associates RN.
okay, so she had an AD and she was getting her BSN.
Yeah.
Okay, well then that's what you say. You don't like you say I have my AD and I'm a semester shy of getting my BSN. You are technically a registered nurse. You can do everything a BSN nurse can do. I said
Hmm.
so. Just say I'm getting my BSN. I'm one semester shy and I'll be done. Make it from like a celebratory. She's trying to make it look like she's doing so good because the other women have their careers complete. But what someone else's track is not yours. Their road is not yours.
Exactly.
But
Yeah,
no.
that was a mess in general. But you know what? I'm not gonna keep y'all because I gotta do something for my work.
Yeah. Well, Mom, it was good to hear your voice at least, and I'm glad that you're doing
You'll
good
see
and
me
doing
next
better.
time. I promise. Y'all see me next time. And Tuesdays and Thursdays, if this time works for you, let me know. If you need a different time later in the day, I can do that too. So just let me know. I'm here for it.
All right, you take care.
I appreciate it. Take care. Bye, Kelsey. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you joining me so much. Thank you to Sharon. As always, thank you, Universal Advocate. Thank you, Abijah. Thank you, um, who was it? Courtney and Eddie, and anybody else watching on replay. I'll be back on next Tuesday. Probably talk about hot topics that's going on in the world. Like I said, nothing political or anything else that you all want to talk about. We'll just be here just for what's going on. And until next time, everybody, thank you so much. Don't forget to like the video, and I'll see you soon. Have a great day.